NYPD Blue started its active development phase, I think, in 1991. David Milch and I wanted to get back together and do a show. And he had this idea for a cop show, which I really didn't think was very good. And I wanted to do something for the network that would really break the rules, because in 1991 the hour drama was just in the toilet. So I had some conversations with ABC about trying to just sort of push at the bindings a little bit. And I thought a cop show was the appropriate kind of show in which to do it, because, you know, an expanded language palette, sexuality, violence, all that stuff is appropriate to a police drama. So I sold them nervously on the idea of a police drama with a way expanded palette of language and nudity and all that stuff. And then David and I went to work, and you know, by the time we really got into the process, we pretty much jettisoned what he had come in the room with and created this drama, which became NYPD Blue. We jettisoned the whole thing. You know, David had an idea about doing. David's idea was essentially inspired by, I think, the, you know, those tapes, you know, all those, you know, secret tape recordings they had gotten off of the Valachi family in New York. And so David had this idea of doing a cop show about an undercover guy who infiltrates the mob, and, you know, and he wrote it. You know, we figured, well, okay, let's see what it is. And the whole damn thing was just endless tape recordings. It was terrible. It was just ridiculous. So we basically chucked it and started from scratch and created NYPD Blue. NYPD Blue was supposed to come about in 1992. David and I had written that first episode, and it was good to go. And we ran afoul of broadcast standards. I mean, totally ran afoul of broadcast standards, and I refused to make the show, given the resistance we were getting to what we wanted to do. It was such a good first script. It was so compelling that in the course of the next 6 months, they kept coming back to us and saying, well, you know, can we compromise this? And I kept saying, no. And I never thought actually we were going to pull it off. But they finally said, okay. And we negotiated language, and we negotiated the number of words you could use and how often you could use them, and we negotiated, you know, nudity, how much nudity, what you could see, what you couldn't see. I mean, it was, believe me, the most negotiated thing ever, which led to, you know, to my, over the years, having fewer broadcast standards problems with NYPD Blue than I ever had with any other show, because everything was negotiated up front. And we finally went into production with it, made it, and it caused such a furor with advertisers and with affiliates, you know, particularly in the South. We almost lost that show before it ever got on. If that show hadn't been a hit from its very first episode, I don't think it would have lasted 4 weeks, because ABC was under such assault for putting the show on that I think they just would have withered. But you know, we just leapt out of the gate, and the audience loved it. And you know, within about a year and a half, we were on every affiliate, and the advertisers were jumping on board, and we were fine.
What about the show was so controversial?
Language and nudity. I mean, No one had ever used the word asshole on television before, or any of the other glossary of words that we had, douchebag, whatever it was. I mean, I probably still have that list in my, you never heard the word prick on television before. I mean, and nothing in NYPD Blue in a movie theater would have generated more than a PG-13. But for television, it was really out there. And the degree of nudity, breasts and rear ends and stuff, for television, it was really radical. And lost in all of the commotion about its bells and whistles was the fact that it was a hugely compelling set of characters, in what was an unusually well-written series.
How were you able to make that compelling, the characters?
Just the way you would make compelling other characters in any other show. I mean, if you stripped away, the nudity and the dirty words and all that stuff, at its core, you still had a very, very solid, recognizable cop drama with two extraordinary characters. Andy Sipowicz and John Kelly. I mean, they were just it was like watching a train wreck with this drunken cop, and just careening through life, and his relationship to this, this really strong, caregiving partner, younger than he. I mean, it was just great storytelling. Now you add on all the bells and whistles, you really got something.